They should. I'm not sure why they wouldn't, but hold up.
Well, I mean, as long as they can hear me, hopefully. But let's just get into it while Brandon hopefully figures. Oh, okay, there I am. Oh, hi. All right, so let's just get into it. The big story actually wasn't even so much the series as it was a trade that happened during the first game, which was when Randall
Second
Grichuk,
game.
second game, Randall Grichuk was traded to the Kansas City Royals midway through the game. It's been a while, I think, since we've actually seen this happen to the D-backs, where they get traded midway. Usually happens before or after the game, so it was kind of a huge bummer, and I'm sure the guys felt that really badly, like in terms of like a mental and the emotional thing, just to see him leave like that. Like it feels like they're dropping like flies. Like they're human after all, so it's hard to not get attached to guys, especially guys like Naylor or Grichuk, who seem to be all around really good guys who this team, and especially the younger guys, have really latched onto. But what we got in return for Randall Grichuk, the first one. So there was some rumors that they had gotten some AAA 25-year-old shortstop or something. So we are all kind of like, why? Like, I mean, I know it's halfway. We're halfway through the season. It's only a 2 month rental for Grichuk, but still, it felt like if that's all you're getting for him, why not just keep Randall Grichuk anyways? But luckily, that wasn't the only thing that they got. They actually got right-handed pitcher Andrew Hoffman, who actually made his debut this season. He has pitched pretty well. He's not amazing, but pretty well. He had a 2.25 ERA and 10 walks with 55 strikeouts in 40 innings in AAA Omaha this season, which is amazing. Like that's what you want to see, especially at a guy who would be a bullpen arm. Those 10 walks are absolutely key, especially with how this bullpen has been. And he's had a 3.86 ERA in 4.12 innings pitched in MLB this season. What do you think overall, Brandon, of this trade? Did you like what the D-backs got? How were you feeling when it first happened? And do you think this kind of affected the team's mentality going forward for the rest of the series?
This trade didn't. I think the Naylor one did though. I think that Naylor trade absolutely took the win out of their sails completely. Like they're just like what like because you could see it in this series. They didn't care. There was like just poor at bat after poor at bat. But the fact that you got a player that's gonna help this team, whether it's this season or next season in the bullpen, I I say it's a win. I don't know why the Royals are kind of buying. Like, I get that the American League is very, very weak, but they're basically where we are. Like, they were like 2 games under 500. They were like 3.5 back of the final wild card. So it's an uphill climb, and then they also losing their number one starting pitcher, Chris Bubik, for about 2 weeks. So like, I don't get this from the Royal side. I'm fine with it from Hazen's side because so far I feel like on both of these trades, he's the Naylor one's a little disappointing because you thought you might get more, but so far we've gotten two bullpen arms, which we know this organization desperately needs because what we have right now, there are so many guys back there that are older journeymen that should not. The only reason they're here is because of injuries. So this Andrew Hoffman, I'm actually pretty excited about. 55 Ks and 40 innings. It's a lot of swing and miss, and that's what I want. That's what we need for bullpen. Swing and miss guys. Like I'm done with the whole pitch to contact, soft contact. Hopefully you initiate a ground ball. No, I'd rather you just throw gas right by them. And kind of like you said, he has played in Major League Baseball this season. Very small sample size, but only a 3.86 ERA and 4 2/3. That's not too bad. Wouldn't be surprised if they kind of did what they did with Garcia. Like once they have him, they send him down to Reno, but then within 48 hours they bring him back up because I think they don't know if he's going to be able to join the team in time. And I think that's exactly what happened with Brandon Garcia. Is it took him like an extra day to get situated, to kind of get all his stuff, like find out where he's living, like all of that, and then he joined the major league roster. So this trade, like, yeah, the timing was a little weird, kind of doing it during the game. Um, like it's not a great, like, it just looks bad to be honest. But like when a deal happens, the Royals probably said, "Oh, we want him here as soon as possible." So they had to remove him from the game, make sure that he packs up and joins the team as soon as possible. I don't think he played today for the Royals, but I have a feeling his role is going to be the exact same, based in left-handed pitching as a DH or a corner outfielder, which is what he is. That is what he is right now. He is a corner outfield platoon bat. And I mean, we've seen it for 2 seasons. He does really good against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, I kind of want to pick
Oh,
up.
he did play today. 1 for 4 today, by the way.
Nice. I do want to piggyback off of something you said, but first I want to acknowledge a little bit of the chat. I just want to welcome everybody in here. Disruptive, Corbin Barrels, Charles, Jeff. Thank you guys all for being here and for commenting. I see the Buzz Lights is in the chat too. I don't see it, but it might be on Twitter, right? Oh yeah, okay, it's on Twitter.
Correct. Yep. He's on Twitter.
But yeah, Disruptive saying, what is clutch hitting? I believe you had the stat. It was 0 for 18 with runners in scoring position.
So they went 0 for 9 in Friday and Sunday, 0 for 1 on Saturday, so a total of 0 for 19 in the series with runners in scoring position.
Damn.
That's that's not professional at all. Like,
because it really felt like they did have guys on base almost every inning. I think that was kind of the issue. Same thing with the Astros series, where they had guys on base over and over and over again. They had guys in second and third. They had the bases loaded multiple times throughout this series and the last series. So it really felt like they were just one hit away, one single, one double, whatever it was, from really breaking these games wide open, and they wouldn't be able to take it. I mean, for what this pitching staff for the most part did. I mean, I know Gallen struggled, but even then, 6 innings, 4 runs, that's doable for a decent offense. A decent offense should be able to put up 5 runs, especially maybe not today against Skeens, but just in general, be able to put up 5 runs on a team. And this offense was just pathetic. I had tweeted out it was 25 innings. It might have even been more. I don't even know if I tweeted it out when the game ended. So, 18. 24, 25 innings. In 25 innings, they scored 1 run. And this is going back to the Astros game, the last inning when they were shut out. So from the 9th inning of the last game of the Astros game to today, it was 20 or even more. 9. So it was 9.
Too many and not enough.
Yeah,
basically what we're saying.
I think I'm like, I tweeted that out. I think they were like in the 5th inning because 9 times 7 is 27. They played 2 extra innings, so that's 29, 30. 30 goddamn innings. They scored 1 freaking run. That was just an extra inning, a Geno Suarez sac fly. That's how pathetic this offense.
And it was Carroll, and I'm pretty sure anyone else. I don't know if we score on that play. Like, maybe Jake. Like, it was pretty shallow, and like, you had to go. It's extra innings. You have a guy on third. That's the second out. You just have to do that. I want to bring up a comment here from Charles, because I just double checked it. I think Grich becomes their best outfielder looking at the Royals based on OPS plus. I didn't look at their OPS plus, but I was looking at all their outfielders for OPS. They're all under 700. So yeah, he immediately becomes their best outfield bat. So like, that makes a little bit more sense as to why they made this move. Like, their outfielder with the most is Kyle Isbell. In 250 at-bats, has an OPS of 643.
Yeah, it's not good.
So they need slug back there, and that's what they got Randall for.
Yeah, and Randall, I mean, for the most part, now that he's been getting more consistent at-bats, that Pavin has been on the IL, he has shown like why he is one of the better benches off the bat. I mean, he's had games where he puts up 2 or 3 hits, just kind of just shows a lot of slug. He gets to second base a lot. Corbin Barrels here in the chat says, what was it, 1 run all series, and I was on the sac fly. Crazy. That is crazy. Like, I know the Pirates have a decent pitching staff, But this much, like this good of a pitching staff, like no, it's not. They are not this good. This is more the D-backs just being absolutely terrible. If they had just been absolutely dominated, just tons of strikeouts, no one on base, that'd be different. But to go for over for 19 in the series shows that it wasn't the Pirates pitching; it was more the D-backs just pathetic offense. And I do think I agree with you with the Naylor thing. As soon as he got traded, this offense just completely shut down. They don't care anymore. Look at Gino's swings. Go back and look at every single time he goes up
Oh my
there.
god.
He's swinging at curveballs on the other side of the batter's box. He doesn't care. No one on this team truly cares. It's just except I did see a comment here talking about McCarthy. Corbin Barrow said, "I wasted McCarthy triples," and that's what it was. It was just McCarthy just because he's fighting for a job. That's why he's trying so hard. But everyone else just seems to they're going through the motions, just don't care at all, and that's such a bad reflection on his organization. I think on Torey Lovell to just have this team play this way, and for him to not, I don't know, seemingly do anything about it. Like I don't know what he. I mean, I do know what he could do about it. He could do his job and like fire them up and motivate them, like doing what everyone supposedly says he's amazing at. All I hear over and over again is he's such a great motivator and he's such a great guy and he's a father figure. Blah blah blah. Do your job, man. This team is in disarray. Go do whatever mojo you need to do to get these guys to start caring again. Because as of right now, it's just been absolutely terrible. Um, and, and but Jeff is
Again,
saying impressive. Hazen was able to get what he did for 2 months of Grichuk and Naylor, and I do agree for the most part that for what he got is two. I think high leverage arms coming into the bullpen. It was a pretty good pretty good return for what he got. I just think I'll bring it up in a little bit. What the other part of the question I was going to ask you, um, but yeah, to bring up Hoffman's changeup, that thing is nasty. But the question I wanted to ask you about is something that you brought up, which was the fact that the Royals are going for it, being 3.5 games behind at the time of the trade. The D-backs were 4.5 behind the wild card. Royals were 3.5. Does that not frustrate you more than ask why the Royals are going for it? Because for me, seeing the Royals actually try and go for it, it's kind of more of an indication of where they are as, just as a GM and an organization that they are far behind. They do have a bunch of outfielders with an under 700 OPS. They don't have any true, well, they have Bobby Witt, but that's about it. Like anybody else, it's a lot of, mid-level guys that are playing. They have a decent pitching staff, and I know it is weaker, but it is a lot of teams that are mid. Like in the AL, you kind of just have to be at 500. In the NL, you have to be a little bit above that. But as of right now, a lot of these teams are still scuffling, like the Padres. Even to a certain extent, the Mets have been scuffling a little bit. The Giants, a lot of these teams
I
are
mean,
scuffling.
Mets just swept the Giants. So
Yeah. So, but before this series, they had lost a couple in a row, so they didn't look amazing. But still, with 60 games left, I still felt like you could at least try these next 2 weeks to see what you can get out of them. If they for sure were still under 500, then yeah, you sell. But to call this team a seller during the All-Star break, I felt kind of really hurt this team and hurt their chances to really turn things around. And so kind of wanted to ask you, like, does that bother you, or are you just not worried about the fact that the Royals are actually going for it, being basically in the same position as the D-backs?
I think it's a couple of things. I think what they need to make a run is not as much as what we need to make a run. I mean, we've talked about it. What we really needed was a DH, at least 3 relievers, and probably another starting pitcher. That's a lot for a team that doesn't have the best farm system. And like we said, National League is very, very strong. American League not so strong. Royals, I still think they have 4 games, and the fact is they're 2 games under, and the third wild card right now is the Texas Rangers at 6 games over 500. Now Texas is on a 6-game winning streak right now, so they're playing really, really well. I was a little confused when I saw Royals, but then I had to sit back and think, well, it's the American League. We know the American League is not, and it's not just this season, it's every season. You can have 83, 84 wins, and you're probably the second wild card. Now this season, I don't know if that. I think it's going to be a little bit higher, maybe 87 wins, because right now the top wild card is the Yankees at 57 wins at a 54% winning percentage. So, um, but yeah, no, I think when they came out of the break against the Cardinals, they looked like they were motivated to go on a run in the second half. And I think that Houston series, losing those games the way that they did, I just think it kind of took a little bit of a wind out of their sails. Offense is seeing the same thing that they've seen every series. Like, what do we have to do? This bullpen's blowing it for us every like at least 2 games a series. Like, there's only so much we can do. Um, and I know they said, oh, the trade deadline has nothing to do with why like it's not a major problem. Watching this series, it absolutely is. Like Gino, since he hit the home run against the Astros on Monday, is like 1 for 17, and they're ugly at bats. They are like just swinging out of his shoes. Like it's really hurt this trade value, to be honest. Like it's kind of something that I'm like, do we want him to play poorly so that they don't trade him? Or do we want to get something from him because of how well he has played most of the year? Like, I go back and forth with that, like, all the time. I'm like, I don't, like, I want him to stay. I love Gino. But I just, like, thinking, like, can we get something? Because right now, like, they just need to stock their pitching in the minor leagues. Like, that's literally what this team needs. They need starting pitching and relief pitcher depth. Like, so that Mike Hazen does not have to go dumpster diving. Because, like, I know we said it all year, like, he's dumpster diving because he has to. Like, the minor leagues, there's nobody. Like, we brought up the one guy, Kyle Backus. Met got hurt. Like, everyone else is not near ready for major leagues.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, that is something that I mentioned when we were talking about maybe potential trades, which was I want major league ready guys. Like, I don't want guys who are going to be stuck in the minor leagues this season and even next season, and then they'll have to like bring him up in 2027. Like, that's not what I want to see. I want guys who can impact the major league level soon, and by soon I mean now, today. We saw, I believe Garcia pitch today. He looked very good.
He
Um,
did.
he looked very,
I
very
was
good. So I
really
was
impressed. I'm
impressed.
like, good. I'm like, good.
Yeah, and the problem is just the offense. The offense again is completely stagnant. It's dead. It's DOA. It's just I don't know where to go from here. Like with how good this pitching has been. Again, in this series, I believe they scored 6 runs total on this pitching staff or the starting pitching staff. Everyone went at least 6 innings, and even the bullpen was quite good. Um, we can get into it. So the game one, Ryan Nelson went 6 innings and 1 hit, two walks, 4 strikeouts. He has allowed 1 run or fewer in 6 of his 8 starts. So, as much as we've talked about the Corbin Burns injury impacting this team, Ryan Nelson has been just as good, if not even slightly better than Corbin Burns has been. So, I don't think that's the main issue here. I think obviously one of the main issues is Gallon not being as good as he probably should be. But overall, I think Brian Nelson has been doing just as good of a job, if not again, not if not better than Corbin Burns has done. But Anthony Descaflani, he took over for Ryan and he went 4 scoreless innings, including one of them in extra innings. He was able to get out of the jam because again, just that damn Manfred runner's goddamn nightmare, and he was able to get out of it, and they were able to win. I think this is it says right here the D-backs are the only major league team in the modern era to win a game 1-0 in 11 plus innings while allowing 1 hit or none. So the 1 hit off of Ryan Nelson was it. They just completely shut down the Pirates, and again, just making it known that he's the true ace of this staff. And but again, the offense was absolutely pathetic. 0 for 9 runners in scoring position. So the main thing I want to talk about was the pitching, and so far, I believe this whole series, again, I think it was 6 runs total by the starting pitching staff, and I believe all of them went 8 innings. So it should be 18 innings, I believe, right?
So technically, 5 runs given up
Oh,
because
one was
Nelson
an earned.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because earned runs, but if we're talking overall runs, yeah, it's 6. But earned runs, it's 5.
yeah. So I guess 5 earned runs and I believe 18 innings by the starting pitching staff. So do you think, for the most part, that this pitching staff is fixed? I mean, even the bullpen wasn't terrible. Curtis was well, I believe it was Curtis, just kind of the only one who gave up any runs after that even from this bullpen. But do you think this is what the pitching staff is going to be going forward? Because even if you look back at the Astros series, that the pitching staff did quite well there as well. Do you think finally whatever uh, stuff their pitching coach did, do you think Kaplan is finally like getting to this guy? He had to weed out 47 other pitchers with Tommy John to finally find some guys. But do you think this is going to be who this pitching staff is going forward?
I hope so, but the problem is the guys started Saturday and Sunday. They may not be here Thursday afternoon. So that's a big thing. Like if you had to ask me out of the two that pitched, who do you want to stay? For me, it's Kelly. Like without even thinking about it. If Kelly survives the trade deadline, I wouldn't be surprised if he has in extension really, really quick. Or maybe they sign him to in extension. That's what I really hope. I don't want to see Kelly play in another uniform. But if he does, I want him to go somewhere where he has a legit chance to win and do well because we saw what he did in that 23 postseason, especially in the NLCS. Like he was dynamite in the NLCS. So I think that's where a lot of his value is that he is like he's just so clutch. He can get out of situations that he puts himself into. Like we've seen countless times. How many times Kelly's will be like 2 guys on, 1 out, and he somehow gets out of it or only gives up 1 run. So I know a lot of the fan base though is like done with Kaplan, and I'm like I just can't do it with a first year pitching coach. It takes a while for them to really install their philosophy. And I know it sucks like having so many arm injuries. Like we really think, is it his throwing program? And as Scott points out, yeah, Kelly vastly outperformed Gallen in the 23. Like Gallen, I think had one good start, and it was in the World Series, but it was too late. Like that was his one good start. So like, I'm not willing, to say like move on from Larkin just because we've seen glimpses of this pitching staff can be decent.
Kaplan.
So yeah,
You said Larkin.
Sorry, Kaplan. So I was looking at Charles Elliott's comment because I don't want to like immediately say no, part with them unless there's someone else this offseason that gets let go by somebody else has experience. Because that's the thing with Kaplan. He was never the main guy. He was always the assistant. So for me, that was, and I'm wondering if that's what he struggled with early on here in the first 3 months, is he was just getting used to being the main guy. So
Yeah.
I'm not willing yet to say Larkin's done after one season. But sorry, I don't know why I have Larkin on my. It's probably because the amount of ridiculous sends and not sends he's done. Like I just have it on the brain. So yeah, Kaplan, I'm not willing yet to say after one season let him go. It also depends on what happens these last 60 games. Like because if they do trade Kelly and Gallen, DeSclafani will be a starter, and most likely Bryce Jarvis, unless they acquire major league starting pitchers in the Gallen or Kelly trade, which I would like them to. If they can get one, Like if they can get one starting pitching, like actual guy that's ready, then I'll be like, okay, we'll see what we have here in the second half. See if we can kind of keep going and going
Yeah,
on to 26.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, but the way things went with Kaplan, like, part of me is done with him. But again, like you said, it's his first year. I mean, this could be the final turnaround. Just all the injuries were just so frustrating to see, and just having him be the main catalyst there, the main guy who's like, changing stuff up a little bit. So, Mr. Biometrics couldn't keep anybody healthy. I think that's kind of why people are so frustrated with him. And this still is one of the worst pitching staffs in the league. But again, I mean, the guys who are performing well right now were guys that were performing well last year. Ryan Nelson, Merrill Kelly, like they looked good last year as well. Gallon had regressed completely. Erod has regressed even worse than he pitched last year, I believe. Um, so I don't know. I don't know how to feel about.
Gallon and Erod, I don't put on Kaplan. I put on them because a lot of Erod, it seems like is just talent wise and not more so like philosophy wise. And Gallon, like I think Gallon is for the longest time refused to listen. Like he was like, no, I'm gonna do it my way because it worked for me before. Like those two, like I don't really put 100% on Kaplan. I think part of it, but not solely on him.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was we talked about half an hour of the first game technically, but I mean, there's a lot of Grichuk talking there and what we think about it. But we wanted to get into Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly was absolutely outstanding. He went 6 innings, 6 and 2/3, 6 hits, 2 runs. One of them was unearned, and one earned run, and 3 strikeouts. So the strikeouts was a little low, but it seemed to be maybe his last game, at least for this season for the D-backs, and maybe his last game of his career for the Diamondbacks as well. So I kind of want to ask you, like, was this it for Merrill Kelly, and what does that mean for this organization going forward if they don't re-sign him or if they do trade him? Where does he land in terms of D-backs? We've talked about him before being on the Mount Rushmore of D-backs pitchers, but overall his legacy. What do you think his legacy is going to be if they trade him now and don't let him finish the season with them?
So I go back and forth, like, and it's kind of the same thing with Gino. I have like two different hats. I have like my diehard homerism captain. No, I don't like my fan hat. Like, I don't want to see Kelly go. I love Kelly. I think he is probably number three best starting pitcher in franchise history, behind RJ and Webby. Personally, I think he's number three. I mean, he's pretty high up there in almost every pitching stat in franchise history. But then, like, I'm thinking, like, I want him to be able to go somewhere and his talent be useful. I don't know if him pitching here in the last 2 months is going to really benefit anyone other than maybe because of our bullpen and our inconsistent offense. Um, Maybe he's not gonna cost as much to re-sign. So it's a weird thing. Like I just want him to go out and do well. So if that means we have to get rid of him, I could see him going to the Mets. I could see him going to the Cubs because they both need starting pitching. I know there's like reports of maybe San Diego, and I don't see Mike Hazen dealing with a divisional opponent. I don't see it. So I think he stays in the National League though. I don't know if he goes to the American League. So I go back and forth. Like, was this his last start? Maybe. But also deep down, as like the diehard fan that I am, I'm like, I hope not, because I love watching him pitch. And when they ask him about it, he's so professional about it. Like he's like, I I know how this part of the business works. Like, so we'll find out in about 4 days. if we get to see him pitch again in a D-backs uniform this season. I still think that they're going to try to re-sign him even if they trade him. Try and bring him back.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I mean, I'm just looking at some of the stats. He is top five and everything. I mean, I know a lot of it has to do with how long he's actually been here. Most of these guys had about 4 or 5 years, especially like guys like Kurt Schilling. They weren't around as long as some other guys, but he's been here as long as a lot of these other guys who have been here, like Zach Greinke, Cole Mentor, Patrick Corbin, Robbie Ray. So there's a lot of guys who were here for about 6, 7 years, as they should be. But he is all over that list, all up and down. Top five, top tens. He is one of the best pitchers this organization has ever had, and it's gonna suck if they have to part ways with them. I mean, his ERA here, career wise, is I believe 3.74. That's let's see, that's eighth all time, even just behind Zach Gallen, weirdly enough. But him and Zach Gallen are seventh and eighth, and he has a 3.74 ERA. But if you look at guys like Brandon Webb is just didn't get enough innings, I think, in a lot on this team compared to him, Granke, Cole Mentor. So it's a lot of guys who hit a certain prime in their careers and then just fell off completely. And for the most part, Merrill has either been getting better or he's been just as good as he ever has been. So I would hope that they could resign him. Maybe he wouldn't be as expensive as a lot of other guys, but it's something that we've talked about before. If we sell both Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, like who do we have to truly cover for them? Because what if somebody else goes down? Like, yeah, sure, we might have this Clefani and and Jarvis waiting in the wings, and they're not the best, but what if one of them goes down? What then? We're just going straight bullpen games from then on. Like it, there's still like we said, there's still about 60 games, a little
It
bit less than
scares
60
me though.
games.
Like it scares
So
me if that happens and we get an injury. Like who do we go to?
yeah, quickly, Andrew's saying that he's been so busy with work Friday and Saturdays and he hasn't been able to watch the games play, but he has watched highlights. The highlights, especially with this team, this series, there's not a lot of highlights to look at. There is just some pitching highlights, and that's about it. So don't worry, Andrew, you didn't miss too much this season. Um, but yeah, I think Kelly should retire as a D-back, and hopefully this isn't his retirement. I mean, like we said, he doesn't have the same sort of mileage that a lot of guys do. I mean, he doesn't rely on speed the way a lot of guys do. So he could have, the same career as Tom Glavine or Greg Maddux. I'm sorry, Greg Maddux is a guy who can go into his 40s pitching because he just relies more on location and the movement of his stuff. So I would hope that he's able to at least stay here. Even like you said, you have your rational and irrational fan cap on, and part of you is telling you like trade him to get something of value, and then don't trade him because you want him to stay here and be with this team. Kind of just sinking. It's a bit of a sinking ship, but you want him to stay here. Um, but yeah, again, I think we kind of just come back to this discussion about wanting to see these guys win a ring as well. If they're not going to win here, do you want them to win a ring, or win a ring somewhere else? Because yeah, like Goldie, as much as I hate him not having a ring, but I don't want to see the Yankees win. Honestly, like if Merrill Kelly goes there, Zach Gallen goes there, hell, they trade for Gino. Um, I don't know how I'm going to feel about rooting for the Yankees to get the World Series. I mean, I truly don't know how to feel, but we did get some news in terms of Gino, which was, I believe that they were asking the Yankees for a major league ready guy, a top prospect, whether it's Double A or Triple A, and then a lower level guy for Gino, and the Yankees just straight up said no. Do you think that's where the D-backs are starting? Do you think that's where it's going to end? Or do you think the Yankees are maybe a little too sheepish and maybe getting a little cheap on the D-backs? And that's, is it a Yankees thing or is it a D-backs thing in terms of asking too much or not willing to give enough?
I think a lot of these teams are trying to treat Gino as any normal rental. Like, why would you give up that much for a guy that could only be with your team for 60 days? But like, Gino is not a normal rental. No one with this kind of numbers has ever been dealt at the trade deadline. And I think that's what Mike Hazen is doing. He's like, I don't have to trade Gino. Like, that's the thing. Like, he doesn't have to. And I know there's a big portion of the fan base that does not want Gino to go. Gino doesn't even want to go. But when you have someone with those kind of numbers, like I think that's where he starts. And I just like, for me, like, I know how we kind of talked about like these guys like Kelly, Gallen, Gino. Do we want to see them go somewhere and win a ring? It depends where they're going. If it's like you said, Goldie with the Yankees, I love Goldie, but no, not my hatred for the Yankee fan base trumps my love of Goldie. Like, if Kelly or Gallen goes to the Cubs, I'm not against them winning. I don't hate the Cubs as much as I do other fan bases. And there's only one other fan base I hate more than the Yankees, and it's the Dodgers. And I don't see Hazen trading anybody to the Dodgers. I think I saw a tweet, I don't know, a week or two ago. Like, Hazen hasn't traded like with the Dodgers, I think, at all, or he's done it like once, and it was like basically a nothing for nothing.
Yeah, I think Scott's
So
bringing up the fact that some statements that were made by Mike Hazen on the SI article about listening on Marte, and I know it's like a 0.0.1% chance that he would do it, but does it not concern you at all that he's actually listening? Because the second one of a GM told me, so Marte, boop, hanging up, blocking that number,
Carroll,
reported him to the FBI. Like, no, like none of these guys are going to be traded. They should be untouchable. And the second they get brought up, the conversation is not being taken seriously. So, I mean Sal's ringing up as well that Hazen said 98.7 that no one is untouchable, but that Marte is unlikely to go anywhere. But what if he likes whatever he hears from some team? Like, there's that, I believe that Cubs one, that the tweet that you sent to us about the Cubs, like what who was it?
yeah. So rumored for the Nationals, Mackenzie Gore,
Nationals.
Owen Casey, who's their number one prospect, Moises Ballesteros, their number 2 prospect, Jonathan Long, their number 6 prospect, and Christian Hernandez, their number 11 prospect. Like, I get why they would do that, because Mackenzie Gore has control. Gino doesn't. Like, Gino is he's gone in 2 months. Like, he is a free agent. And this whole report that came out about how no one's untouchable, I don't believe it, to be honest. I think the asking price for a Marte or a Carroll would be so astronomically high. There's no way anyone, like, I'm talking more than what the Nationals got for Soto. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like 6 or 7 got, because you got to think, you got to find a way. Marte averages WAR the last few years of what, like 6 or 7? Like, there's no way any team would sacrifice that much of their future for that. So, and I know that we kind of discussed the fact that Mike Hazen said that no one's untouchable. I'm not sure what his method or what his direction on this was, because it doesn't make sense. Because they aren't, like, and I know Gambo came out and said, no, this is not clickbait. It's true. It sort of is, though, to me. Like, it sort of was like, yeah, you can call, you can ask, I'll listen, but I don't think he's actually listening. I don't think he's actively listening on these trade requests. Josh, let me introduce you to a team called the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, well, Ken Kendrick is not Matt Ishbia. And like a trade like that, you would have to get the approval of Ken Kendrick. And I don't even know if Ken Kendrick would do it, because he'd be asking Mike, why? Like, does this really make us better? You would lose the fan base would absolutely riot, and they kind of did the other day. Like so many, I saw so many comments that saying, "Oh, I will drop my season tickets if this happens." I'm like, yeah, and Scott, yeah, and his WAR currently is at 3.2, which is for the amount of time that he's played. That's insane to me. Like what he's doing. Um, so I don't know. Like I don't understand the logic of having that sort of quote come out saying that no one is untouchable. Like that's like saying Juan Soto is untouchable. I mean, no one's trading for that contract, but I personally don't believe it. Um, that when he says no one is untouchable, there are two players on this team that are truly untouchable, in my opinion, regardless of what Hazen said.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the comments are kind of agreeing with us as well. Just kind of, I mean, they are saying the same thing, sort of like about doing a due diligence, kind of just seem like, okay, like, so about Marte, and even if he's like, okay, like, what are you offering? And then they're just offering prospects or whatever. He's probably just hanging up. But one of them brought up Marte for Skeens, or Scott Mag brought it up. If that's what they're asking, maybe I will listen to that call. But
That's
everyone
about
else,
the only player that I would do it for,
yeah,
just because of the age. Like the age itself is enough for me. But again, we know it's never gonna happen. Like Dodger fans, Yankee fans, stop. Skeens is not gonna be traded to you guys this year.
yeah, I don't understand like that logic, especially for Dodger fans or even Padres fans, where it's like, oh, we're getting this guy or that guy. I'm like, they're not trading in division. Like it would be crazy to trade a guy in division, unless unless they have an incredible prospect. But even then, I don't think so. Um, but yeah, it's a really hard conversation to have right now because the trade deadline is a few days away. Is like, do you think come what is it, August 1st, who's on this team and who isn't? Because tomorrow is Monday. They are facing off against the Tigers, and we're going to get to the season preview in a little bit. But they're facing against the Tigers. Is a team that plays against the Tigers going to be the same on Monday as it is on Wednesday?
Uh I think of all the guys that have been rumored to be traded, Gallen, Kelly, Shelby, Backus, um, Gino, even Gurriel, I don't think any of those guys get traded until Thursday. I truly think that all of those trades are going to happen the day of the deadline or right up into the deadline. Um, so I just, because I think they're all going to warrant more of a return, which I like. After seeing Gallen pitch the last 2 years, you're thinking, how is that possible? There's a reason Mike Hazen has his job. He's going to be able to convince someone that he is worth giving some. Like, if we can get anybody AA or higher for Gallen, that's a win in my book, because I don't think he's worth it. I think he's like worth some single A or low A guy that's not going to help this team till 28 or 29. That's just me personally. Like, it's just like he just hasn't looked good all season. Like he has like one or two starts. Like he's 7-12 with a 5.5 ERA. So I don't know. I think all these guys will be playing in the Tiger series. Personally, I don't think any of them are traded until Thursday, which is an off day for all but like 8 teams. There's like 3 or 4 games on Thursday. Everyone else has that day off, which I think the entire league should have that day off. Because what if the guys are playing in those games? Then we see what happens with Randall Grichuk. So I personally think that none of them get traded in the Tiger series. That's just my thought. I'm just trying to, like, anyone that would be someone that is not going to have the best return on them. And out of everyone, I think that's Gallen.
Yeah, I think so too. Just I mean, he really doesn't have much to offer in terms of what he can do. Like I said, I would be a little bit worried if Cleveland or the Dodgers or Tampa Bay asked for him. Where at that point, I would be maybe pausing a little bit. I'd be like, okay, well, why? What do you see in him that we're not seeing? Because if you guys want him, then it's clearly something you can feel like you're fixing from him. For me
Cleveland,
personally,
send us Class A. You can have Gallen.
okay, yeah. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be competing in this season. But I mean, there's quite a few teams still left in this race. It just depends on them what they feel, what they're going to do, and what how they feel like their farm system is stacked up. But there's still a lot of teams with a good farm system. I mean, the Yankees supposedly, I'll say supposedly because it's kind of BS. I think it's a lot of media bias. I think in terms of the Yankees minor leaguers, their minor league system supposedly is one of the best in the league, but doesn't produce any actual results on the field, by the way. But yeah, I mean, some of them are people in the comments are also talking about Gurriel. I think that's a sneaky pick also for a potential trade because he does have a player option for next season. There's no guarantee he's going to stay with this team. I believe, he's still just above a 700 OPS. So if a team is
Yeah,
willing to maybe overpay for Gurriel, I can see this team trading for him.
701. He's at 701.
701. So I'll ask you and the rest of the chat, um, who is your hot take trade? Either the person they trade for or someone that they won't trade. What's a hot take that you might have?
I still think it's Gino. I think Mike Hazen's going to have a very, very high asking price, and I hope that he digs his heels in and he doesn't waver on that. It may come down right to the wire, and I hope that he sticks to his guns and he doesn't waver just because it's getting near the deadline. Say it's like 10 minutes before, and it's still nowhere close. Like the teams are nowhere close on it. Um, that's personally um, what I'm hoping he does because he's done it the entire like the last couple of weeks. Like, why would he then change his mind the closer we get? But that's probably what a lot of the other GMs are trying to do too. Is like, we're getting near the deadline. You need to get rid of Gino. But again, he doesn't have to. If he doesn't get the return that he feels is deserving, then don't trade Gino. That's just my personal opinion. Um, if he Gurriel, if he can find someone that's willing to take that Gurriel contract, because I am scared to see him play first base. He has been taking grounders at first base. That frightens me because I'm sorry. Like, I know that he makes good plays in the outfield, but he looks so awkward sometimes making those plays. Like,
Yeah. Uh, Josh here, Huntstar, is saying his hot takes that they get rid of both McCarthy and Alec. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, Alec
it
and
depends on
McCarthy,
the return for me.
they are both going into their arbitration years, so that could be a possibility because I mean, Alec is still highly regarded in baseball as a guy that other teams, at least offensively wise, that a team I feel like they could fix his swing, whatever it might be wrong with it, especially because of his track record in the minor leagues as well. This year he has been hitting a lot better. He's playing just as good defense as he's always has. So I can see a team maybe wanting to have an all star Gold Glove caliber center fielder. So he could be gone. McCarthy, bat off the bench, a guy with speed. There's a lot of teams that do these sort of, um, you know, uh, not necessarily, like they're not moving the lever anyway, but there are teams who will get a speedy guy like Dave Roberts. That was an acquisition by the Boston Red Sox. Dave Roberts wasn't necessarily hitting that great that year, but he was stealing a lot of bases, and that's kind of all he really had to offer that team. And what did they do? They brought him in to steal second in the was it in the it was game 7 of the CS, I believe, right? The game
Game
4 of the CS.
four. It was game four. It changed
Can,
history.
can change completely change anything. So McCarthy does have sort of speed. He does have game-changing speed. So if you put him in either in the outfield for a few innings, or if you put him as a pinch runner for, whatever slower guy that's on a contending team, he could make a huge difference. And same with Alec. With his defense, he can be a defensive replacement late in the game, and he could make a game-saving catch, especially if you get a team like Philadelphia with how big and vast that stadium is. Alec could be incredibly valuable there. I don't think they have enough prospects that should get him or anything, but there's some of these contending teams that do have these huge stadiums like Detroit, even New York to a certain extent. That center field is pretty damn big, but I don't think they are going to trade for him. But it is an interesting thing to keep an eye on, and I ain't going to be checking my notifications the entire day on was it Thursday?
That's why I have Jeff Passan's tweets turned on. So every time he tweets, I get a notification.
I don't think I'm going to be sleeping much this whole week, just because it's like the second I get like a notification bell from Jeff Passan or even Bob Nightingale, it's gonna either hurt or it's gonna be good news for us. But I just want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. Brandon, you got any last word? Oh, we can break down the Detroit series. That was so
kind of. We don't know who the starter is for Detroit in 2 of the 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns, but we got Erod, Fod, and Allison going against them. The only one we know for sure is Melton, who hasn't been good this year, but he's only pitched 5 innings as well. So not much to say in terms of that. In terms of that series, I am interested to see how Detroit has been playing recently. They've been playing pretty well. They've been playing pretty bad, but then well, but then bad, but then well. So they've been a little here and there. So I don't know what to expect out of this series. I can maybe see the D-backs take 1 game. Maybe. I'm curious mostly about the offense. How are they going to respond? Because they were terrible against the Astros, terrible against the Pirates. If this is just a lull in the offense, or if this is just who they're going to be going forward. But you got any thoughts about the Tiger series coming up?
I'm curious if Gino's going to switch clubhouses during the series, because he's been linked to the Tigers. They need a power hitting bat. I don't. I just need offense to be just show up, because they didn't show up this weekend. I'm not sure they knew they had a series this weekend. So that's all I want is just show up in the series, please.
Yeah, that's what it is for me too. I'm like, I just want you guys to show up, show that you are trying, show that you at least care a little bit. Give us at least a little bit of a show, because even that 2021 team, that team, as terrible as they were, there were still a lot of guys on that team that were trying, especially Josh Van Meter. He was trying a little too hard, and so then we missed out on the number 1 pick that season. But I want to thank everybody for coming here. Josh, Scott, Corbin Barrel, Sal, Andrew. Who else is here? I believe saw Jeff in here as well.
Charles.
Andrew.
Dank was in here.
Dank, Buzz Light. If I'm missing, your mother. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody. Tommy Jr. as well. So I just want to thank everybody coming in today and keeping us company. Allowing you guys to vent a little bit, because I know with this way this season has gone, with the way these series have gone, sometimes you just want to vent, and sometimes we say things we don't mean, and sometimes we say things we do mean, but just in a more angry tone. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. We'll catch you guys on Wednesday, I believe, for the Detroit series, and then I believe Thursday to break down the trade deadline. And if there happens to be a huge move by the Diamondbacks, let's say they do trade Gino and they get a haul, we probably will go live at some point right after that. But until then, see you guys and have a great day. Night.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Tears a heap, but we own this town. Brennan gave on the call with Josh in the back, bringing it in.